Hi, I'm Carol Grier, and my book is called Choices, a Memoir. I would like to read an unforgettable part of my life when we lived in Yosemite National Park. One day, an official-looking letter arrived from the National Park Service. They offered my stepfather a job in Yosemite. He and my mother were elated. We started our grand adventure in the first week of December 1931. Mom and Dad packed everything they owned into a Model A Ford, though those were not large automobiles. They were about two-thirds the size of my current Subaru Outback. A roll of bedding was tied on the front fender, and my 3-month-old brother slept on the back seat in a wicker laundry basket on top of sheets and towels and clean cloth diapers. And this was at least 2 generations before disposable diapers. It was a good thing I was skinny because I had about 8 inches to sit on. That's all that was left. And I rested my feet on a box since the whole back seat floor was crammed with our possessions. We started off on our grand adventure. When we got to the upper Columbia River Highway, it was covered with ice. Dad was trying to decide if he should put on chains when a car passed us. "Look at that damn fool," Dad said. "He's asking for trouble." We drove over a slight rise, and there on the left was that damn fool's car on its side next to the road. Dad eased his foot on the brakes until our car stopped. I gaped at the driver and his wife as they leaned against their tipped car. There was blood all over the man's right arm. Mother took a clean diaper from the pile in a basket under little Russ and walked carefully across the icy road so she could bandage his wound. The man's wife was furious. "You idiot! I told you not to go so fast. Just look what you've done to us. We'll freeze to death." She might have been right about that. There was no room in our car for even a small baby, much less 2 adults. All Dad could do was assure them that we would send help as soon as we could find it. He muttered something to Mother about hypothermia, so she gave them one of our precious blankets. We couldn't leave right away because Dad still had to put on his chains. Sometime later, we stopped at Mosier, and Dad told a man at the gas station about the accident. I've often wondered if that couple survived, and if they did their marriage survive? My parents discussed his bad judgment and their predicament for a number of miles down the road. It was a long, long trip. As we started up into the canyon in Yosemite, we soon learned that there was a considerable amount of snow. That must have been an unusual amount of snow in the valley because the years we lived there, it wasn't that deep again. We were assigned a house that had been empty for some time. It was in what they called the Old Village. When Dad opened the door and we walked in, the floor was covered with gooey mud. The pipes had frozen and broken. To make matters worse, somewhere along the way, we had lost the bedroll that had been tied to the front fender. I can still feel the damp, cold air in that house. Welcome to the land of milk and honey and sunshine. I imagine that Dad went back to the ranger station to report this. A plumber must have fixed the pipes, but Mother had the pleasure of cleaning up the muddy mess. I'm surprised she didn't burst into tears, but I realize now what a survivor she was. By the next morning, an ominous odor emanated from the house. When Dad opened the trap door to see what he could do about it, the odor got worse. He had disturbed a whole family of skunks. For some reason, known only to him, he put mothballs down there. I suppose he believed that the odor would repulse them and they would leave. They didn't. The smell simply got worse. Even the margarine tasted of skunk. The aroma of mothballs along with skunk fumes made breathing difficult. We all had headaches. Well, I don't know if little Russ had one, but the fumes couldn't have been good for him. I had to go to school my first day reeking of skunk. I didn't think about it then, but now I marvel at how polite the other students were. They didn't hold their noses or sit on the other side of the room or make fun of me during recess. I wonder if kids today would be that thoughtful. It was spring before I began to appreciate the beauty around me. I had been raised in the mountains of Idaho, but they were nothing like the awesome mountains in Yosemite. I first became aware of birdsong. It was a choir, with the chickadee-dee-dees carrying the melody, and the stellar jays the brass. Because the sky was narrowed by mountains, its blue was more intense, and the shapes of the clouds more intriguing. The resulting sunsets were not in the sky, but shone on the mountains, especially on El Capitan. At times, fantastic oranges and pinks and yellows lit up the whole face of the Captain, which would in turn be reflected in the Merced River as it meandered through the valley. In such a place, you know you are privileged to glimpse something beyond mortal life. Each season had a distinct aroma. Spring had the smell of fresh earth, of sweet azalea, and the tang of pine and cedar. New grass sprang up in the meadow along with purple lupin and yellow buttercups. Summer had a soft, lazy smell of sunshine and the hum of fat bumblebees. The grass went to seed, swaying in the breeze. Autumn had a cozy smell, still warm, but with a bite to it. The wild dogwood leaves would turn a brilliant orange, their last hurrah before they fell. Winter had a crisp smell, a cold breath that filled your lungs and cleared your mind. In the moonlight, the snow on the mountains looked blue, and the coyotes howled into the night, while a little girl sat by her bedroom window drinking in the sight and the sound. As you know, there's always a snake in paradise, and there was in this paradise as well. So you'll have to read the book in order to find out all about it. It's easy to find it. It's Choices, a Memoir by Carol Grier, and you can buy it on Amazon.com. Thank you.